Wait a moment. Have you ever found yourself in this situation? Every day, we are bombarded with motivational videos and messages, which aim to inspire and encourage the execution of the tasks that need to be carried out. However, the initial enthusiasm and drive associated with these stimuli are very short-lived. And the neuroscience of motivation explains this phenomenon. This manifests as a temporary increase in dopamine, the neurotransmitter of motivation, not pleasure, as people think it is. It is a substance that involves us in a state of intense motivation. Before we continue, I invite you to like and share in the comments the word discipline, which symbolizes the inner strength you wish to develop to achieve a truly prosperous and serene 2024. Comment, and I'll be leaving a little heart in your comment. Now back to the video. However, it is clear that this state is short-lived. Sometimes we watch motivational videos when we don't feel like doing a task, like going to the gym, for example, and they work very well at that moment. However, trying to always rely on this type of peak motivation is not enough to maintain habits, discipline, and self-control. And in this sense, the teaching Stoics are present to guide you and teach you how to deal with these issues. And with that, we know what we really want, which is an intrinsic, long-lasting motivation, which resembles a container being gradually filled with water, as opposed to the first type, characterized through small holes in the bottom of the bucket, where water can be poured but does not remain. If our journey involves achieving a goal, repetition is essential, and, as obvious as it may seem, there are no shortcuts to achieving it. Therefore, we can approach tasks and thoughts as thought Stoics that make us reflect on the true meaning of simple things like diets, exercises, and studies in a more intelligent way. But it is extremely important that constancy and repetition must always be at the forefront. Is not true? Thus, it is possible for someone to be highly motivated at a specific time, but not make substantial progress due to a lack of reinforcement of that state. As a result, many struggle internally to engage in repetitive actions for as long as it takes to achieve their goals. Desire then arises, exemplified by the desire for a more athletic physique, which, however, lacks significant progress due to a lack of constancy. This situation possibly reflects a lack of discipline and self-control. I believe that discipline, self-control, and a clear mind Stoic, they are the missing key to open the door that leads to the achievement of our goals. Discipline is often seen with a negative connotation, associated with something arduous, exhausting, and rigid. My experience following a strict diet for a martial arts championship vividly illustrates this challenge. At that time, discipline was a pressing need to achieve an optimal level of physical performance and meet the category's requirements. However, this period of 1 or 2 months was permeated by continuous suffering, characterized by constant psychological stress due to the dietary restrictions imposed. It was at the end of the championship, in which I suffered an early defeat, that I understood how disciplinary rigidity played a significant role in the outcome. The subsequent freedom from dietary restriction resulted in an excessive increase in fast food consumption, illustrating how rigidity can take its toll. My perception of discipline and self-control has undergone a substantial transformation over time. Today, I see these attributes not as onerous impositions, but as anchors that support my sense of freedom, tranquility, and personal contentment. History, in its wisdom, considers discipline a virtue, along with values such as perseverance, resilience, and self-control. The wise men of the past valued the prudent management of time, warning us not to waste this precious resource given the fleetingness of life. Marcus Aurelius, by the way, a great Stoic thinker in his teachings, often resorted to nature, arguing that we are inherently destined for labor. When talking about work, he was not referring exclusively to paid labor, but to dedication to improving our focus, intelligence, and skills. Among these skills, self-control and discipline stand out. What is self-discipline? Discipline is defined as the ability to accomplish what one knows is necessary. even when the will to do so is scarce. However, I slightly disagree with the last part regarding carrying out tasks against one's will. If we truly don't want something, there is no reason to do it. Life is brief, so why subject ourselves to activities that are irreconcilable with our desires? We are often influenced by other people's opinions, external expectations, and the environment around us to pursue goals that do not reflect our true desires. Therefore, when discussing discipline, I am not referring to the imposition of waking up at 4:30 in the morning or other practices considered essential by third parties. From my perspective, a more accurate definition would be the ability to perform something consistently towards a defined purpose. That said, a more in-depth analysis of the functioning of our brain motivation and reward system is in order. The human brain releases dopamine, the neurotransmitter related to motivation, only when it anticipates physiological rewards. For example, if sleep is insufficient or of poor quality, the brain is inclined to seek rest to the detriment of other activities. In this way, we understand why, at certain times, the motivation to follow a diet or go to the gym is scarce, while procrastination presents itself as the most attractive option. The primordial discipline, which precedes all others, lies in valuing fundamental aspects such as sleep, nutrition, and physical activity. All our endeavors are modulated by chemical substances, which in turn are influenced by these primordial habits. It is therefore necessary to establish a sleep, eating, and exercise routine, and also to abstain from anything that is not beneficial. This may seem simple and even banal, but the brain needs a period of learning to internalize such practices. It is not just by watching a video that you will obtain lasting motivation to eat well, sleep adequately, and value rest time and your own health. In summary, self-control, work, and purpose are three essential dimensions. The philosophy Stoic, in its various currents, emphasizes that the search for inner peace does not mean inactivity, but rather the appropriate use of the body and mind, contributing to the common good. Discipline and self-control are the foundations that enable the achievement of objectives. These are values that, far from representing an oppressive imposition, confer freedom, serenity, and personal satisfaction. Thus, by reflecting on these principles, we are guided on the journey towards wholeness and self-development. Steve Jobs made an intriguing statement that, in essence, advocates limiting contact with a certain type of individual, organizing our surroundings according to our purpose. However, ultimately the external environment, including our close circle, is to some extent at the mercy of chance. We do not control who our friends are. So what can we do? We can strengthen our self-control. We can strengthen our focus against the inevitable distractions, amplifying our determination to complete what we want to achieve. If we are determined to change a habit, change the way we look at life, here, in our reservoir of self-control, but this would be useful for any endeavor, it is imperative to understand that brain plasticity takes time, requires exposure and repetition. And of course, to strengthen our neural learning connections, we need adequate sleep, for example. Thus, we see how things intertwine. Therefore, the more we conquer distractions and temptations in order to master those activities that we propose to carry out, the more we will demonstrate diligence. How can we achieve our goals if we are not able or willing to work? From a Stoic point of view, work is not only relevant, it is also the activity for which we are destined. Everything in the universe has a place, and we, as human beings, are no exception. We have unique capabilities to serve the whole. The philosopher Stoics, they considered diligence, that is, being careful, attentive, and dedicated when carrying out a task, as an essential characteristic. We were molded to scroll on TikTok, Instagram all the time, to feed ourselves fast food constantly. So yes, it is much more comfortable to stay in bed. However, the Stoic emperor reminds himself that he was not born for comfort. He mentions how plants, birds, ants, spiders, and bees perform their functions. If we go back to our ancestors, we see the same dynamics. We worked, we did what was necessary at that time. Nowadays, we value the importance of sleep, rest, and relaxation. Marco Aurelio also stated that nature established a limit for this, just as it did with food and drink intake. Therefore, there is a time to relax and a time to work. What we need is not so much a balance as a contrast, a period of intense work followed by one of intense relaxation. In my routine, I am clearly dividing these moments into my mornings. Currently, I wake up at 8 a.m. Some may find this pleasurable. After all, it has been an intrinsic part of human life since time immemorial. To facilitate this process, we can seek out activities that are aligned with our own individual natures. So, for example, Hercules, due to his nature, was able to protect the most fragile. As he had a strong and athletic body, he was really ready for that. Other people may be better suited to writing, art, science, technology. Nature has endowed us with unique characteristics, and from the point of view Stoic, as we move forward, we must chase that star in the sky, whatever that represents. The easiest way to lead an undisciplined life, like that lazy relative who drinks beer, smokes cigarettes, and accomplishes nothing, is to not have specific goals. And naturally, without clear goals or objectives, we quickly direct our energy toward activities that have no long-term value. Marco Aurelio emphasizes that we should also avoid other people's occupations. Even if we are involved in some activity, it does not mean that we are being productive. Being idle is consuming our time, and above all our energy, in exchange for momentary pleasure. We simply continue in this spiral of small pleasures and consumption. For many people, life can seem meaningless. However, considering the wear caused by modernity, Marco Aurelio advises, go slowly, but go until the end. If your well-being is important to you, be your own savior while you can. Could it be that, due to a lack of clear objectives, we will allow others to make choices for us, when we have the ability to decide for ourselves? Are we going to wander aimlessly, or rather, be carried by life like leaves in the wind? Or will we harness our one true power, which is the ability to choose and act? By being disciplined with yourself, everything becomes much simpler. And this is how focus, habit, self-control, and discipline flow naturally. However, this journey towards self-control and discipline is not an obstacle-free road. We are often tempted to deviate from the path set by our goals, seduced by momentary comforts or trivial distractions. This is where the true test of character reveals itself. It's easy to stay the course when everything is favorable, but it's in times of adversity that true self-control shines through. As Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Discipline, as understood by the Stoics, is not just an external imposition of rules or standards, but an internal practice of self-control and self-mastery. It is the ability to direct our actions according to our reason and values, even when we face difficulties or temptations. Stoic discipline does not seek to repress our desires or emotions, but rather to guide them towards what is truly important and virtuous. It is a continuous process of self-improvement, where we learn to deal with life's circumstances in a serene and balanced way, maintaining our moral integrity and inner peace. For the Stoics, discipline is not something that is achieved instantly, but rather a path that we follow throughout our lives. It requires constant practice and perseverance in the face of the challenges we encounter. Just as an athlete trains his body to perform at its best, we train our mind and character to cultivate virtue and self-control. This involves facing our fears and weaknesses with courage and determination, learning from our mistakes, and always seeking to become better than we were yesterday. Stoic discipline invites us to embrace life's challenges as opportunities to grow and strengthen ourselves, rather than letting them bring us down. By developing Stoic discipline, we not only improve ourselves, but we also contribute to a more just and harmonious world. When we act with virtue and wisdom, we inspire others to do the same, creating a network of positive influence that spreads beyond our own lives. Stoic discipline enables us to face life's ups and downs with calm and serenity, finding peace and contentment even in the midst of adversity. It is through self-control and discipline that we can truly achieve personal fulfillment and live up to our highest ideals. Discipline and self-control are not just personal virtues. They are fundamental pillars for building a more resilient and prosperous society. When each individual takes responsibility for their own self-control, they contribute to a more stable and harmonious collective environment. Therefore, by seeking to improve these skills in our personal lives, we are also contributing to the well-being of everyone around us. Ultimately, the art of self-control is an ongoing journey of self-discovery and improvement. By adopting the principles of Stoicism and cultivating discipline in our daily lives, we not only accomplish our personal goals, but we also become agents of positive change in our world. May we always remember Epictetus's words: "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to what happens that matters." May every challenge we face be an opportunity to strengthen our self-control and resilience. So that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will read them all and prepare a video answering your questions. Subscribe to the channel. A big hug to everyone, and see you in the next video. And don't go away now. Watch another video on our channel that is full of wisdom for you.